All right, what's up, everybody, man? It's your boy Cliff Franks, aka Hoop Jargon, man. This is a gentleman I've been trying to track down for a minute, man. Glad to have him back on the show, man. I did a show with Coach Sewell 3 years ago, man, and so a lot has happened since that last show, and so I want to bring him on the show. So, Coach, man, introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are, what you do.
Yeah, again, as Cliff said, I'm Antone Sewell. I'm the defensive coordinator at Bowie State University here in Bowie, Maryland. Um, definitely a friend of the show. Got to know Cliff a little bit during my time working at Prairie View, and definitely support the movement. Support what you guys are doing in terms of trying to bring exposure to black college sports and just black athletes and coaches of the like. So anytime I can come on and get a chance to speak to you and your people is definitely a pleasure for me.
Man, I appreciate that, bro. And I understand schedules get conflated and all kind of stuff happens, man. So I just appreciate you lending your time to me, man.
No doubt, no doubt.
All right. So with that being said, man, let's kind of get into it, man. Coach, so a lot of people, some people may know who you are, Coach. So talk a little bit about your background in football and what's got you to the place you are now, Coach, to being defensive coordinator at Bowie State.
All right, so I'm from right here in the DMV area. Lived in DC as a youngster. My family moved to PG County. The now famous PG County.
Yeah.
Thanks to Kevin Durant and a few other folks that are finally bringing some exposure to this small, predominantly black county right outside of DC. Little known fact: PG County is actually the richest predominantly African American county in the United States. So we got some good things going on up here. So like a lot of people that lived in DC in the 80s, we migrated right across the county line to PG County. Played high school ball here in PG County at Fairmont Heights High School. Stayed in PG County and went to Bowie State University, which is again where I coach at now. Played ball for Henry Frazier. Had a pretty good career. Ended up being an all CIAA player my senior year in college, and got right into coaching. Started my coaching career at Fort Valley State in Georgia. Came back to Bowie for a season, and then Coach Frazier hired me at Prairie View in 2005. Helped him turn that program around to where we eventually became SWAC champions. And my last season there in 2009 and 2010 spring, I accepted the defensive coordinator position at Bowie, and I've been here ever since. Doing my best to help bring my alma mater, to some prominence as a Division II football powerhouse.
Yeah, and let's talk about the powerhouse part, brother. I remember last time we chatted, man. I saw that you were saying good things about to be around the corner. And every coach says this, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
We know how that rhetoric goes, man. But one thing I did notice, man, the kids really take to you really well, man. And I think that's
I appreciate that.
Part. Yeah, man. Being at HBCU, man, is you're raising young men that are gonna be the future leaders of this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so,
no doubt.
I think that's great, that rapport you got with them. So let's talk a little bit about that success, man. Like back-to-back CIAA champions, man. What's up, man? What happened, man?
Man, listen, it's funny because when you came up here, I think that might have been maybe summer 2016 or 17. I know it was somewhere around that. 17.
Yep.
And at the time, we were coming off a back-to-back CIAA championship game losses.
Yeah.
So we knew we had the formula, and we knew that what we were doing was the right thing, and it was just a matter of us just, we were already knocking at the door. It was just a matter of us just really finding the right key to open that door. It didn't hurt that we had a kid by the name of Amir Hall, who was, who owns pretty much every CIAA passing record at the end of his career, and ended up being back-to-back HBCU Player of the Year, offensive as well as just overall Player of the Year. So, which is something that hadn't been done by a D2 player ever. That guy, that kid really carried the flagpole for our program in terms of getting us over that hump. And we we have a formula that we believe in, and we stick to it, and we really, really preach to our guys, doing things our way, and as a coaching staff, we practice what we preach. We try to enforce in our guys in terms of, being good men, being good fathers, being good leaders. Just again, not being perfect, because none of us are perfect. All of us have our flaws and men, but we don't bury our guys when they make mistakes. We learn to, we learn how to correct them, get them back to the point where they can be on the right track.
I think we kind of went out a little bit. Y'all still here? You kind of went into a little tunnel on us, Coach. Okay, you kind of froze on us, Coach. See if you can get back in here. So yeah, man, and guys, and so the thing that he's speaking about, I think is uber important, man. You got to understand that you're raising young men, and you got to have them see life a few steps ahead. I think a lot of coaches get caught up in the moment, right? And so they just want to have a successful sports program, but you got to have guys who are actually going to be productive members of society. I think he's still trying to go. Okay, yeah. So Coach will punch back in. But the most important part, guys, and I try to reiterate this a lot, man, and it's funny, man, we get caught in the wins and losses so much, and it's so hard to compartmentalize what the main goal is. And the main goal is to make these men productive members of society, because all of them not going to the NFL. Now they're going to the NBA. So you got to understand these people are going to be the future leaders of this world. All right, I think we got him back in. Coach, you good?
Yeah, my fault.
Man, you got that Boost Mobile, man.
Man, hey, listen. No, I actually just got rid of Sprint, man. I got rid of Sprint about 2 months ago because Sprint had a love-hate relationship. But out here, man, we got NASA, we got NSA, we got BWI, all that type of stuff. So, they probably heard me talking about some good old empowering black young men, and decided they wanted to cut me off. But we can't be stopped right now.
There you go, man. And I was just talking to the viewers, man. I love the fact that y'all put that manly spirit in them early, and it's not just about football, and you don't take it as such, and you're not down on these kids. They don't understand the big perspective, man. And so what kind of makes y'all run y'all program like that?
Yeah, big man, I learned, one of the things I learned, and I've adapted it as my motto as I've grown in coaching, is it's a phrase, and it seems pretty simple, but it's so profound when you think about it. And it goes, they don't care what you know until they know that you care. And when I first heard it, it kind of blew me away, because it was like, as a coach, you almost have that, sometimes you have that parental mentality of do what I said because I said do. Because I'm in this position of authority, you should do what I said. Well, we may have come up like that, and that's how I was. Anytime a coach or a person of authority told me to do something, unless it was just outlandish and I knew it was going to put me in harm's way, I was going to do it because that person had that title. But this generation isn't like that. They're going to question you. They're going to question you, and they're going to want to know why. And even then, they may mumble under their breath and so on and so forth. But I'm time enough for them most of the time. But at the same time, man, I have plenty of conversations with my guys about things outside of football. Even from a football standpoint, I learned to explain to them why. Explain to them why, hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z this way because, this is going to give us the advantage in this situation and so on and so forth. So really, really challenging those guys. And one thing I've learned, man, and this is no knock on anybody else, man, I never, ever underestimate the power mentally, physically, emotionally of our young black men. I think oftentimes we get kids that, like when you think about the plight of the black quarterback, one of the things they always say is, black quarterbacks don't have the mental capacity to lead or to learn the system and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I think it's BS. I've had kids that have transferred to play to me, and by the time their career's over their first season, they're like, Coach, man, I learned so much more in this 1 year. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, man, Coach, at my other school, all they did is basically train us and get us physically prepared to play, and then, expect us to go out and just make plays. So it's like people underestimate the mental capacity and the IQ of our young black men. So most of these guys want to be challenged. They want to be disciplined. They want to be challenged to learn and to push themselves to the limits so that they can see just how much they can grow. And we foster that environment. We make sure that our guys understand that they're going to be held to a very high standard, both on and off the field. We played against a team in the NCAA playoffs a couple years ago, and I was talking to one of their, it happened to be a black coach after the game, and he said something to me, and I didn't know how to take it at the time because I didn't know if it was an insult or a compliment. And he, after the game, and we ended up losing the game, I think like 38-35 or something like that to Delta State down in Mississippi. Who, if anybody knows about Division II football, Delta State is one of the premier programs in all of Division II. Has been that way for a long time. And guy came to me after the game. He said, "Bro," he said, "Man, when we watched you guys on film, we were so impressed, and you guys didn't look like a typical HBCU football team." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like what does the HBCU football team look like?" Yeah. And he was like, no. Like, he was like, no, like, no, I don't mean it like that. He was like, but a lot of times, you don't see certain schemes from HBCU football teams. You don't see certain things, certain adjustments being made. And I was like, oh, okay, because basically what he was saying is, again, a lot of times we don't push our guys to mentally challenge themselves. We want to keep the game as simple as possible. And that's great when you have kids that are more talented than the other team. But when you start to get into those postseason situations, you start to get into those big games, it's going to be about who makes the adjustments better and whose kids are able to make decisions on the field that put you in a position to be successful. Who's going to jump off sides on that third and 5, or who's going to be out of position. Who's going to be out of position on that third down when the team is trying to go for the first down, and you calling a certain coverage, or who's going to recognize a certain formation that a team has ran on film, where they're going to run certain plays out of. So, man, we do a lot to just mentally, push our kids on the field as well as in the classroom. During the fall, which is the toughest time for football players, because obviously we're having games, we're traveling, those kind of things. Man, we on any given year, we have probably 50, 60 guys out of a 100-player team that carry above a 3.0 GPA during the fall semester when we're traveling to 5 and 6 road games and we're practicing, 2-3 hours a day and having meetings and those kind of things. So we don't just say, hey, we're going to have you bring you guys in, teach you how to be great football players, and then the rest is up to you, because we realize that our players are our biggest recruiters. When kids come on campus, the one common theme you'll hear from everybody that we bring around to speak to our kids is family. Family atmosphere from a coaching standpoint, family atmosphere from a player standpoint, family atmosphere from a campus standpoint. I mean, you saw our campus. It's not like we don't have a big campus. We're in PG County, but we're kind of like in the cut. Very similar to Prairie View. It's like one of those things where if you're riding down the street and you're not looking for Bowie, you might not even notice Bowie is there. So once we bring people into that family, we make sure we care for them. We make sure we nurture those guys. We make sure we love them up, and we make sure that we see them through to the finish line. Even if a guy doesn't graduate right at the end of his eligibility, we're going to make sure, hey, man, hey, listen, you got 18 more hours. Here's what you need to do. You need to make sure that you're registered for summer school, that you're back in school for the fall. And some of them follow the plan, but I'm not going to act like we have a foolproof plan. We have some guys that want to do what they want to do, and some guys fall through the cracks. But for the most part, I think we have a really good system in place. I've been here for 10 years. Coach Wilson's been here for 11 years. He's a guy that was a student. When I was at Bowie. He was a senior my freshman year. He also was a coach during my time at Bowie. So we have a really good rapport. We have, again, like I said, we have 6 Bowie State alums on our coaching staff. So not only do we want to see the kids be successful, we want to make sure that we do a good job maintaining the image of our university because it's our alma mater. And I think all those things, when you combine all those things, it gives you the results that you see on the field. Now we're just trying to make that next step to not just getting to the playoffs, which we've been to the national playoffs 4 out of the last 5 years. Won a game a couple years ago, which was the first playoff win in school history. We've hosted three home playoff games, which again are the first times in school history. So now we're trying to make that next step to truly become a national title contender, which is something that you don't really hear about from an HBCU standpoint a whole lot. Just being honest.
Seriously.
You hear, man, we want to win the CIAA, or we want to win the SWAC, or we want to win the MEAC, which is great. But at the end of the day, football is football. We don't want to just be the best black college football team. We want people to say, man, Bowie State is one of the best football teams in all of Division II. From Maryland to California to Florida to wherever Division II football is played. And I think that we're well on our way to people consistently saying that. I mean, there are some people now who would attest to that. Definitely our opponents. I mean, even the people that have beaten us, they know that they were in a war, once they finished playing our guys. And, even from a coaching standpoint, like I said, the coaches we go against, even if they don't respect us going into the game, I think we do a good job of earning respect from our opponents, from our supporters and our opponents all the same.
Yeah, and I think that's good, man. You touched on a lot of things that I want to reiterate, man. First, I think and I learned this from my days of teaching, man. This generation is so different, man. You literally have to sit there and explain stuff to them. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that you got to sit and explain stuff to these kids, because these kids are the most informed that they've ever been in life. So it's okay. You want them to question what you say. It's not like do as I say, not as I do. You want to be able to walk them through so they can buy in to your word. And so I think that's dope that y'all do that, man, because that's what you want. You want them to question things. You want them to be able to be thinkers, whereas they're not just blind followers with no vision. And so I think that's a great call out, man. When I used to teach, bro, some of my fellow teachers thought there was such a big sign of disrespect that kids would question you. I'm like, hey, you know how you circumvent that? You answer that question, you tell them how it's going to benefit them, and you move forward. Because then you ain't got to deal with it no more. But when you just buck up at them, they going to slowly but surely, they're going to rise up and they're going to question you in a way that's going to be very uncomfortable. And then you got to deal with a whole other problem then.
Yeah. Because they're going to assume if you don't answer them, they're going to assume you don't know.
Yeah, they're going to assume you don't know.
And you're right. And from that point, you lost them. Because the worst thing you can have is somebody that you are assigned to teach believing that they're smarter than you.
Yeah.
Once that happens, you're done. You lost them. You lost them. It doesn't matter what you tell them from that point on. They're never going to believe you again.
You got to work really hard to restore that rapport when you get to that point. And it's damn near not even worth it at that point. and another thing.
I agree with you.
Yeah, man. Two of the things you said that really resonate with me also was the game preparation, and selling your kids short. And you look at a cat like Bill Belichick, man, always situational preparedness. That's why you look at the roster for the Patriots, they ain't never going to leap off the paper of the best team, but he prepares them for every situation. And it sounds like that's what y'all doing there, because they always ready. They never getting blindsided. And like you say, who going to jump on third and 2 when we need to get this first down? Who going to jump off sides and put us at 3rd and 7? Who going to make this penalty when you pissed off and hit somebody late and kill the momentum, kill field possession? Those things matter. And I think y'all tackle that real well, because that will get you to beat a team better than you if you don't give them those gimme plays. You know what I mean? I think a lot of HBCUs, you watch it. Let's be honest. You watch it, so many penalties, so much lack of mental preparation, when I think it's maybe the derivative of you're not holding those guys to a high standard, which they are very capable of doing.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, and again, and I don't want this to come off as me bashing anybody else, because I respect anybody. I respect any and everybody within our profession, because this is this is a thankless job that we do, you know, and especially at our level. We're not getting paid millions of dollars like some of the guys you see on TV. We don't have all the resources, and you know, a lot of times, I mean, up until 2017, I was the only full-time defensive coach at Bowie State University. You know, so it's one of those things where we can always make excuses or have reasons why, you know, we don't do things a certain way or why we don't, you know, do this or do that. But that's just not what we're about, man. Like we've had from a coaching staff standpoint, we've had so many experiences with doing things the right way. You know, doing things the right way. Again, when we were at Prairie View, man, Coach Frazier is a guy that I always hold near and dear to my heart because he taught me so much as a man, not just as a coach. And he's telling us all the time, man, fake it till you make it. I don't know if you remember. But we used to wear, even if it was just khakis and a polo, we used to dress business casual every day as coaches outside of the summertime because he told us from the beginning, look, if you go somewhere else, this is what it should look like. Or even if somebody else comes here, you want people to look at you and say, okay, that guy must be somebody. Yeah. You know, he's not around here, even though he's in an athletic department. He's around here in his t-shirts and shorts. So when people look at you that way, they're gonna say, "Hey, let me watch him. Let me see what he's doing." And now when they start to see your actions and see how you carry yourself and conduct yourself, now they want to know what you know. You know, so now you put yourself in a position to move or to elevate within your profession just from your appearance. So we carry that same approach and mentality with us here to Bowie, and we make sure that our guys understand, man, listen, I tell my guys all the time, look, every day you walk out your room, not just out the dorm, because even within the dorm on campus, every day you leave your room, you're on a job interview. You know, you're on a job interview. Again, I didn't know that you were going to have this platform when I first met you. I could have been a butthole when I first met you in the tree. Like, man, I don't know this dude. Like, he with basketball, I'm with football. I'm gonna carry it a certain type of way. Yeah. But that's not my mentality. You know, I try not to burn bridges, and I know that there's some people who think certain ways about me because I carry myself with a certain type of confidence. But that's what I have to do in order to be successful in my profession. You know, I tell people all the time, like, football players, like, we're different animals. We have to be able to. And I'm serious, like. We got to tell ourselves, you got to tell yourself every day that I'm going to go out here and I'm going to dominate another man that his whole purpose is to try to basically hurt me. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to sacrifice my body mentally and physically on a day in and day out basis in order to be at the top of my game. And that's why, to be honest, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but to be honest, It doesn't surprise me when you see the trouble that athletes get into off the field and off the court, because we have to develop a sense of invincibility in order to be at the top of our game within our given sport. And some guys don't know how to turn it off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Some guys feel like, man, I gotta tell myself. Imagine if you, and it's so funny because, you know, everybody had a different take about the Last Dance with Michael Jordan. The one thing I took from that is that guy trained his mind to say, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to be the absolute best, to destroy everything and everybody in my path in order to get to the top. That's how elite athletes think, though. Yeah. So is it really a surprise that those same guys get out here and think that they're above the law? That that they're above any and every rule and law that has been set forth for the average person? No, it doesn't surprise me most of the time because, again, it's hard to turn that thing off sometimes. You know, it's really hard it gets really hard to turn it off, and that's why, again, as coaches, that's why I say I respect all coaches, because you have to deal with all these egos, you got to deal with all these different personalities. And you got to find a way to get those guys to work together for a common goal. And again, like I said, on our level, it's even more difficult because a lot of the times you dealing with, we have coaches that work full time at schools, that work in different, government buildings, so on and so forth, and so they're not even getting a whole lot of time spent around these kids. But I think the one thing that we have, man, we got some men who are really invested in seeing these guys grow and be successful in whatever it is they do, and whatever time they do have with them, they pour into them whatever good that they have, and hopefully, those guys accept that, and utilize that in their life going forward.
No, I like that, man, and because I think with the big picture to kind of reiterate is, man, you raising, future leaders of tomorrow, and let's keep it a buck. In that DMV area, that's not the easiest way to come up, especially in the Maryland sector. Like you know what's up, like so these especially these cats who live Baltimore and the like you say PG County and all that. You got a lot that you got to deal with when you ain't on campus. You know what I'm saying? So you can do it. Had this great football career. You go back home, and if you ain't learned nothing manly, all that shit out the window. When you get back around your boys, that shit can drag you all the way down. So do you kind of feel that's your obligation too, knowing what your boys are gonna go back into when they leave your watch?
No doubt. I had one of my kids. It's funny you say that. I had one of my kids that when the whole COVID shutdown began, I go to his Instagram page and he's on there with his middle finger up and giving let me give a shout out to my it's my homeboy birthday, and his homeboy, he posted a picture of his homeboy with 2 guns and some liquor bottles. Man, listen, I hadn't even wiped the cold out of my eye, and I was on the phone with him. I said, bro, listen, this ain't what we do. Oh, nah, coach, I'm just showing my man some love. I said, well, listen, if that's what you think is the type of image you want to portray, maybe this ain't for you. Yeah. Maybe because I'm trying to give you an opportunity to get something better for yourself, and you're trying to do all you can to stay connected to the hood or to this and that. And I'm not saying that I even going through college, even after college, I still have friends that live probably on the wrong side of the tracks. But those guys understand that's not my life, and that's not what I'm endorsing.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm endorsing, man. Listen. And even then, those guys respected me. Most of my friends that were living a certain type of way, I didn't see those guys when I was in school unless they were coming to games to support me. Their thing was, hey, listen, bro, you got an opportunity to do something none of us can do. Man, we're gonna do all we can to support that, and we don't even want you around what we doing. But listen, you're exactly right, man. We fight a battle that is really never ending. It's really never ending. And that's why, like kind of what I was telling you earlier, I don't want to, spoil it at all, but that's like what I was telling you earlier, we've had to, really galvanize and put our arm around our guys, everything that's going on in the world right now, because again, they're on the front line. They're on the front line, and they're going to always look to us for guidance. So we got to make sure we got our ducks in a row so that, when we do go to them to tell them, hey, here's what we think, or here's what what I would do in this situation, and so on and so forth. That it is good, genuine advice that's going to lead them in the right direction and put them in a good spot.
Yeah, I think that's paramount, man. Because one thing I'm big with is follow up, man. Because everybody got lip service. Everybody think they're looking out for their guys, but the proof come in the pudding of how you hold the standards to your players. And another thing you talked about was a follow up about guys, because everybody ain't gonna make the boat. Everybody not gonna graduate in 4 years like you want them to. But the guys who you really shows the integrity of y'all program, because y'all helping these, because we know how it go. When it's like you no longer good to me on the field or the court, it's like, hey man, good luck. You know how coaches do, bro.
Right.
You know how they do.
No doubt.
That follow-up is key, man, because that same kid, man, they'll remember that for the rest of their life, man. And then, even better, they'll have that same commitment to somebody else that can help down the road because you show them that same love.
Exactly, man. And we have a bunch of our players right now that are coaching, youth leagues, high schools, maybe even some getting involved in college. Like I said, we're always willing to, bring one or two of our former players on our staff. So it's one of those things where, man, like you said, man, just to, not to beat a dead horse, but just trying to raise men, man, trying to use football as a tool, because what we realize is we have something that they want, and so you have a captive audience. You got to be able to really give them something of substance. You know, when the worst thing you can do is get somebody's attention, and then you waste their time once you get their attention. You know, because then because not only is that person not going to listen to you anymore, but they're going to be hesitant about listening to anybody, because all they're going to remember is, man, the last time I really dedicated myself to something or somebody, they wasted my time, so I don't want to go back down that road again. You know, so man, we just try our best to make sure that again, like, we're giving our guys stuff that and lessons and values that they can take with them as they move forward.
And that's what's up, man. Because I say it all the time, man. Sports has been great to me, just like yourself. But the lessons you learn in the trenches, man, is what's gonna carry you past when you can't play no more. You know what I'm saying? You about to be 40. I'm 36. I can't hoop no more. So basketball, from a hooping standpoint, ain't carrying my life no more. Like, that ain't the vessel for me getting to that next level per se. But the lessons I learned, whether good or bad, have shaped me to be where I am. And so ideally, you want to impart more good than bad into your young men. That's going to shape them going to that next level. You know what I mean? So I think that's very important, what y'all doing out there in Bowie, man. And not only winning, but y'all helping these young men out in an adverse situation, man.
Right, indeed, man. Like I said, I appreciate you recognizing and acknowledging that, because again, like I said, man, sometimes it can be a thankless job, but you know, you see the worth in your work when we see these young men, and they come back to the school with their kids, and with their wives and those kind of things, and you see. Because then they're at that age where they can really thank you, like, man, coach, I appreciate everything you did. I didn't understand it at the time, but a lot of the things that you taught me during my time here are things that I use every day in my life, and like I said, that lets us know that we're going about it the right way, even outside of just the wins and losses on the field.
All right, so man, the question came up, man, from my boy Martin Green, man. Remember who Jargon said? It's actually where we're gonna go. So this is a perfect segue. So he was saying, so has the Bowie staff made contact with the players concerning George Floyd in the current situation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And like I said, I didn't want to ruin your segue. I know that's important in this business. But we actually had. So what we did yesterday, we've been doing all Zoom meetings and Microsoft Teams meetings with our players throughout this whole COVID-19 shutdown that we've been in, because we haven't been able to have any in-person contact with those guys. It's funny because I told those guys I never thought I would get to the point where I would say I missed them, but I actually do kind of miss being around the guys. So what we did yesterday, because some of our guys I know live in some areas where I know that they have had a lot of interaction with law enforcement. Most of it not positive, unfortunately. So I, myself, along with our head coach, we organized a team meeting on Microsoft Teams yesterday, and we had some officers that we have relationships with join that team meeting. And what it was an opportunity for our young men to express exactly how they felt about not just the George Floyd situation, but just social injustice in general. Because we realized that, man, we deal with 18 to 22-year-old young men, and being an HBCU, probably 99% of our team is African American. So we're dealing directly on an everyday basis with the demographic that's mostly affected by what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. Not to say that we aren't, because as you said, thank you for letting everybody know that I'm about to turn 40. But I know that George Floyd himself was in his mid-40s, so obviously it doesn't just stop when you get a certain age. So I'm also in that demographic of black men that are under attack right now. So we felt as though it was.
I think it's kind of going out a little bit again.
important
Let's
to
see.
give those guys an outlet to express themselves amongst family, how they felt or what they said, and it was uncensored. It was some, it was some. Can you hear me?
It's kind of going in and out a little bit.
Can you hear me, Cliff?
I hear you now.
Cliff, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
So if I, all right. So I'm sorry. So
I'm on
I
my
don't know.
laptop. Good try.
Oh, okay. You got one of them. You got one of them Chromebooks or something, man. One of them joints you buy your little kids when they first go to school. But
No, I ain't gonna front, man. It was hurting me 2 weeks ago, man. I had Malik Rose, man, from the Spurs on here, man. My laptop was not showing me no love, man. I had to reschedule the interview, man. So I don't know. It might be me.
That was your fault for not having the label
Yeah,
on
yes,
your show. All right, but no, I'm sorry. What I was saying is, and I don't know where we got cut off, but basically, long story short, we had our entire team plus I want to say we had 5 officers on there. 3 of them were former players. One of them was a relative of one of our coaches, and one of them was the father of one of our former players who just finished for us maybe like last year. And we just gave those guys the opportunity to just speak freely. Speak about how they felt about their interactions with the police, how they felt about just social injustice, and anything that was on their heart that they wanted to express to law enforcement that they may have been unable to express before because of obviously they were concerned about any possible consequences. And again, it was a very interesting conversation because there was some, when you let those guys speak freely, there's going to be some, off the cuff comments that you like, okay, maybe that should not have been said. But at the same time, as I told those guys, it wasn't for us to control the narrative. It wasn't an opportunity for us to say, hey, no, don't say this or this is the topic we want y'all to talk about. It was an open question and answer session, and I think those guys did a good job of getting their point across, and I think the officers did a good job of answering those questions as honestly as they could without necessarily trying to be defensive or trying to or trying to protect the image of of law enforcement. And I think that there was some good that came out of it. So much so where even after that conversation was over, even though I'm the defensive coordinator, I coach the safeties. So I meet with the safety group once a week. Those guys put me on a group FaceTime when the team meeting was over because they wanted to continue the conversation. And I think that they were able to see some of what was said to them, but they were also able to still confirm what some of their beliefs were. And honestly, man, I woke up to a text this morning. Hold on, you guys may not be able to for a second. I'm gonna scroll up on my phone so I can read it.
Okay.
So I woke up to a text this morning that said this from two of my players who were 2 of the more vocal guys on. Would you believe me if I said me and Ray led our own group of hundreds of people peacefully protesting through the streets? And the other guy said, nah, for real, it was crazy how our voice was able to educate and motivate that many people. So it's like, we are supporting our young men, whatever it is that they're doing. Trying not to put themselves in harm's way. But it's not about being a Bowie State football player right now. It's not about protecting the Bowie State football because again, if all we see them as and all they see themselves as are college football players, then we're gonna be in trouble. We're gonna be in trouble. Those guys have a voice and they have a platform to really affect change. One of the things we also talked about is, why do they feel as though that this particular incident has brought on so much and so many people when this is something that has been happening for such a long time. And they were honest enough to admit that had it not been for the COVID-19 shutdown, it may not have this incident with George Floyd may not have caused the reaction that it has, because now people have opportunity to really sit down and think about what's going on versus just kind of going about their day. And when you talking about a lot of these other people, young black men and women who have been victims of racism and police brutality and so on and so forth, it's like there's a real uproar when it first happens, and you got hashtags and T-shirts and people changing their profile pictures and justice this person, justice that person. But then we kind of go on about our regular lives.
Yeah.
Where I think this one has kind of, because even with with us right here in Maryland, we had some kids that were on our team that were on the front line of the Freddie Gray protest. When his situation was going on in Baltimore. But it was just really people in Baltimore that were protesting. This particular incident has galvanized and united people across the country. And I think it's one of those things where I wish it had not taken this for this to happen, but it was almost like, and
you kind of cutting out on me again. This break has been brought to you by Boost Mobile.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. Yeah, you good.
Yeah. I heard that shot you took at me too. I heard that shot. It's okay. But no, man. So it was refreshing, and it let me know as a coach that we're doing the right thing, but there's still more that we can do. There's still more that we can do in terms of just making sure that our guys are informed about how certain things work and how their voices can be heard, and how as college athletes they're in position where people are going to listen to them. Because even though they're humans just like everybody else, they're in a position where when they speak, people are going to listen, because some people put them on a pedestal, and that's one of those things where it's a gift and a curse, because when you make a mistake, people don't realize that you're human and you make mistakes, but you have a platform where you can positively affect change and positively lead people in the right direction. So, like I said, to short answer, yes, we have. We have definitely engaged and discussed what's going on with our guys, and we will continue to do so moving forward. We don't believe that. I know some people say, politics and sports should be separate. No, we have an opportunity to have 100 or so young men. Like I said, the majority young black men have their ears. I think it's important that we discuss all aspects of life with those guys, especially when they're willing and have a desire to discuss those things.
I can't be any more in agreement, man, because I think, man, one of the biggest problems is with the sports model as it is, as far as college sports, is because guys are not imparted with this wisdom. They're not made to be thinkers. And so here's what happens. Once you finish playing your sport and you don't go to the NFL, you don't go to the NBA, you don't go overseas, you can't use your natural gift anymore. It's always this second renaissance. It's like, okay, who am I now? Like, I don't know who I am. And like a lot of players, they get depressed, man. Like, I don't think y'all understand this, like, of trying to redefine who they are. And I think it's incumbent on your coaches or, your leadership council or like your parents to to make you understand that you're bigger than just, a guy playing sports. You have so many other gifts. You have so many other things to give to the world than just your athletic talent. And I think it's good y'all let them see that early, because it's gonna happen, man. Like around 25, you just when it occurs, we all done experienced this. You ain't quite that same athlete no more. You don't have that profile no more. You can't, when you're 22 is when you pretty much got it figured out as far as a college dynamic. You walk around campus, you big man on campus. Anything you say is law. And you walk around, you can do and say what you want. And you got clout that you never can re-achieve again if you don't go pro. So you got to understand that you're still a worthy person in society and that you still got a lot to offer beyond your playing days. And so it's good y'all giving them that vision early. So when 25 hits, it's not like this, damn. So what do I do now? Like, who am I? Like, and then some people, they go down, man, whether that's drug addiction, whether that's alcoholism, whether that's you just going out and participating in degenerate behavior, kicking it with the fellas like we talked about, all those kind of things you can succumb to. And I think it's very important that we understand that as coaches, as leaders, as siblings, man, and this extends past coaches, man, like, someone of that age, it would behoove you to step in and to kind of oversee that a little bit, man, because that's a very, very tough transition, man. It's a huge transition, especially being, a brother, a person of color. Like, you got to understand this world is not going to be nice to you. It's not going to be kind to you, man. So you got to understand how to navigate in that space and be a productive member of society, and B, thrive on your gifts, not just your athletic gifts, but the intrinsic gifts that you have. And so I think establishing that firm foundation from your advisory council, what have you, and this can be your friends too, that's going to mold you into the man you become later down the line, man. I think, man, me just having this platform with Hoop Jargon, man, and starting the group, man, it's been like 9 years. And people all the time tell me, oh, you think you this because you run Hoop Jargon and you ain't nothing. I can do what I want and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, nah, bro. When I thought I was somebody, it was about 24 years old when I was playing ball overseas. Now I'm just, I'm about alley-ooping people, putting somebody in position to succeed, giving somebody a voice, and we all grow together. Like that's my main vision now. But when I thought I was somebody, it was then. When I was in Europe, I went from a nobody to like, I post up at the club, what I mean? Everybody knew what Cliff was doing. You know what I mean? And so without telling on myself too much, you kind of, feel the lines in with that. But that's when I thought I was somebody. Like, that's when I had an ego, a quote unquote ego. But now, as a 36-year-old man, it ain't about that no more. I mean, it ain't about showing off. That's why I don't do the profile pic thing. That's why, I don't really care about that no more. I care about fortifying my household, fortifying my future, put myself and others that I care about or who I work with into position to succeed. That's what I care about. Because, I mean, when you go through like, the midpoint of your life, you understand that it's not all about you. You know what I mean? It's not all about you and your personal gains, because life is so much more. You can be rewarded by helping other people. You have an intrinsic reward. And I think a lot of people miss out on something like that. So I see we lost Coach Sewell. Hopefully he can get back in. But I think this is a perfect segue into me kind of speaking on that, man. Yeah, and great quote by Martin, man. When I was young, I did childish things. And as I grew, I put childish things away. And, I think that's a great parable, for people to understand. It's like, and what you see is a lot of people don't always catch the boat, man. Some people just don't ever mature. It's always about them. It's always about what am I doing and how does it affect me? Some people never get out of that stage, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. You know what I mean? And so I think it's important to impart that type of wisdom upon our, and I give all the credit to my father, Cliff Frank Sr., and then my I used to see him as my surrogate father, man, Ron Peters, man. If you're in the same fraternity I'm in, or if you went to Prairie View A&M, Dr. Peters, 85A, since I was about 14, he put a lot of that that type of spirit in me where I can understand things bigger than my situation. And I'm not gonna front, like I didn't always take to it, man. Like I remember Ron telling me stuff when I was at Prairie View that I wasn't trying to receive. I ain't trying to hear my dad telling me how I need to be more aggressive on the court, and hey, I ain't drive all the way out here to Prairie View to see you out here being. I wasn't trying to hear him, but now I see it now that they were just trying to push me to be better. And so I wish I listened to it a lot more, but a lot of games that they gave me, I did take it into, where I am today. So I definitely am thankful for having that type of advisory council around me. And so I think it's important for guys like Coach Sewell that have that understanding. Because, I mean, let's keep it a book. There are a lot of coaches I played for in my life, excuse me, that didn't give me that type of life advice. They just was about, what can you do for me right now in the program? I'm going to give you a marginal sense of support, and the rest is on you. And I appreciate that too, because that's how life is, man. That's how your boss is going to be. That's how the CEO of your company is going to be. They're not going to sit there and give you too much TLC time. So you got to understand where your help is when you have it. Because when you get in the real world, I said this in my live earlier, nobody owes you anything. You can say to yourself that, oh, it's not fair. I ain't getting this, that person getting this. But at the end of the day, they don't owe you a damn thing. You owe it to yourself to understand that dynamic and to build for yourself. So, and that's all I got on that, man. I see Coach probably got jammed up with that track phone service. He gonna enjoy that when he hear this. But yeah, man, I thank y'all for tuning in. And so I got some more interviews down the pipeline now with the George Floyd situation and the protest situation that did kind of derail a few that I got. So I got a few coming straight down that pipeline. They're gonna be some really good interviews. So again, that Malik Rose interview is gonna go down in the near future. I got some athletic directors that I'm gonna get to interview, and also I'm gonna have a few players, other players rather, that I'm gonna be interviewing as well. So y'all keep y'all eyes attuned to that. It's gonna be real good, man. And so I really appreciate the support and the viewership I've been getting from here on in. It's something that started from a hobby that's turned to a thing, man. So I wouldn't have it without the captive audience, man. So I really appreciate y'all. So till next time, man. Peace.